Hi, friends. Happy Wind Down Wednesday, except it's Thursday. I'm so glad you're here with us this evening, except it's the morning. Find someplace cozy to sit and we will get started. Happy Thanksgiving! I hope you're having a great start to your day. I was going to send this video yesterday on the actual Wind Down Wednesday, but something came up and I had to be flexible. So when I was thinking about how I was going to spend my Thanksgiving morning, I couldn't think of a better way to spend it than with some of the kids I care about the most. So find some place to sit if you haven't already, because we're going to listen to 3 stories together. The 3 stories we're going to be listening to are: Who Will Carve the Turkey This Thanksgiving? A Trip to a Powwow. And If You're Thankful and You Know It. We're going to start with this story. If You're Thankful and You Know It by Chrissy Bozick and Patricia Storms. What do you think this story will be about? If You're Thankful and You Know It. If the leaves are changing colors, jump right in. If the leaves are changing colors, jump right in. Rake them in a great big pile, dive in and play a while. If the leaves are changing colors, jump right in. You can sing along with me. If the air is getting chilly, bundle up. If the air is getting chilly, bundle up. Pull on your warmest sweater and prepare for autumn weather. If the air is getting chilly, bundle up. If the geese are flying south, hear them honk. If the geese are flying south, hear them honk. They're flying in a V, leaving the snow for you and me. If the geese are flying south, hear them honk. If the trees are full of fruit, pick some apples. If the trees are full of fruit, pick some apples. Just climb right up the tree and grab one for me. If the trees are full of fruit, pick some apples. If you want to make a scarecrow, find a hat. If you want to make a scarecrow, find a hat. Stuff a shirt and pants and really make him dance. If you want to make a scarecrow, find a hat. If you want to bake a pie, grab your cart. If you want to bake a pie, grab your cart. Head to the pumpkin patch, then bake your pie from scratch. If you want to bake a pie, grab your cart. If guests are coming over, give them hugs. If guests are coming over, give them hugs. Neighbors, friends, and cousins coming over by the dozens. If guests are coming over, give them hugs. If it's time for playing hockey, grab a stick. If it's time for playing hockey, grab a stick. Set up a game with friends, put a goalie at both ends. If it's time for playing hockey, grab a stick. If there's turkey on your plate, gobble it up. If there's turkey on your plate, gobble it up. A feast is really great on this November date. If there's turkey on your plate, gobble it up. If you're thankful and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're thankful and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. If you're thankful and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're thankful and you know it, shout hooray, hooray. What are you thankful for? I am so thankful for our special class family community. Let's read our next story. The next story is A Trip to a Powwow by Richard Red Hawk, illustrations by Anne C. Brooke. We learned that November is National Native American Heritage Month. We're going to be learning about some Native American traditions in this story. A Trip to a Powwow. To my daughter, who shares my love for the American Indian powwow. Do you know what a powwow is? If you don't have a lot of schema about powwows yet, touch your nose. Let's learn together. Show and tell. Connection. We've done show and tell in class before. Tess woke up with a big smile on her face. She was happy. It was Friday. She could hardly wait to go to school. One by one, each student stood in front of the class. The boys and girls shared their hobbies with each other. Tom showed his boats, Emma showed her puppets, Sally played her flute. Tess knew that soon it would be her turn for show and tell. She was very excited. Now we will hear from Tess, Miss Sherrill said. Many of you are doing the optional homework and doing presentations in front of the class. Tess walked to the front of the room with a large brown bag in her arms. Facing the class, she reached into the bag. What do you think might be inside the bag? I want to play some American Indian music, Tess said as she pulled a tape recorder out of her bag. Give a connection wiggle if we listened to Native American music. It's fun to listen to different types of music in the classroom. It is the music played at Indian powwows today. Tess turned on the tape recorder. Music began to drift through the room. Most of the students had never heard American Indian music before. The high-pitched singing and the steady beat of the drum were different from the music they sang. But soon the children were nodding their heads. They tapped their feet to the rhythm. Boom, 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 boom. Indians on the Great Plains started the powwow, Tess explained. They would gather together to dance and sing. Some of the Indian tribes that used to powwow were the Kiowas, the Cheyennes, the Comanches, the Poncas, and the Sioux. Tess told children about the wars between the American Indians and the white men. During the wars, the soldiers forced the Indians to move off of their lands. The Indians had to move on to certain lands called reservations. Powwow. Tess reached into her brown bag again. This time she pulled out a headband made out of tiny red, white, and blue beads. She placed it on her head. Tess also removed 2 beaded moccasins from the bag. She put them on her feet. At the powwow, we dress like Indians did in the old days. When girls and women dance, we always wear shawls over our shoulders. Now Tess pulled a beautiful blue shawl from the bag. It had an Indian design on it, painted in white. Long, silky fringes dangled from the edge of the shawl. Today, Indians from all over the United States and Canada have powwows, Tess said. We celebrate because we are happy to be Indians. With permission from a grown-up, you could research what a powwow looks like. The shawl was wrapped firmly around Tess's shoulders as she stood in front of the teacher's desk. She asked the students to stand up and to move their desks against the walls. "I will teach you how to dance the round dance," Tess said. "Please stand in a big circle in the middle of the floor." If you like, you could try this with your family. Miss Cheryl and the students made a big circle. Everyone was excited about learning an Indian dance. "Now take a small step to the left with your left foot," Tess explained. "Next, take a small step with your right foot and place it close to your left foot." In a very short time, the children had learned the steps to the round dance. Tess turned the music on the tape recorder again. The children and their teacher danced around the floor. It was fun. When the dance ended, Tess told the children the big news. "Saturday night is our powwow. You are all invited." Miss Cheryl looked surprised, but happy. "Students," Miss Cheryl said, "Tess has invited you to attend a powwow. I hope you will be able to go with your mothers and fathers." Miss Cheryl asked Tess if she had anything else to say. "I hope you and your families will come to the powwow," Tess said. "Now you know the round dance. You can join in the dancing. If you come to the powwow, you can have fun the American Indian way." How special that she's teaching her friends about her culture. Do we teach each other about our culture? You'll have an opportunity later in the year to tell us about the traditions that your family does at the powwow. Tess led her class into the Santana School gym. "Powwows are held everywhere in the United States," she said. "We even have powwows here in California." So the setting of this story is in California. You could also say that the setting is at school or in the gymnasium. It's where the story is happening. The students and their teacher sat down. Together they watched the grand entry. The dancers walked into the gym. The men and women wore beautiful costumes. So did the boys and the girls. They all wore colorful feathers, beads, and cloth. A man and woman led the Indians. Tess explained that they were the head woman dancer and the head man dancer. They were followed by the head girl and head boy dancers. All of the dancers stood silently near the center of the dance floor. A large round drum sat in the center of the dance floor. Around the drum sat several men. "They will sing a flag song," Tess announced. "We are very patriotic people. The flag song honors the American flag and our nation." A slow, steady beat of the drum suddenly began. Everyone stood up. The Indian men sitting around the drum sang the flag song. Hey, that's a tradition in our classroom. We stand up each morning when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, an old white-haired Indian man gave a blessing to the Creator. He asked for beauty, peace, and goodwill for everyone at the powwow. He spoke in his language, the language of the Leoseño Indians from Southern California. Then he spoke in English. When he was finished, the dancing began. Indian men and women danced around the drum. The children did not understand the words of the song. The men sang their songs in the language of the Sioux Indians. It's okay if we don't understand someone else's language, but we can still show respect to them, and we can show that we're trying to understand. Usually, the dancers move around the drum in the direction of the sun. This is the same direction that the hands of a clock move. Tess explained to the children. In some dances, though, they move in the other direction. The girls and women wore beautiful dresses made of yellow, red, black, or purple cloth. The dresses were trimmed with shells, beads, or lace. A few women wore buckskin leather dresses with long dangling fringes. All of the women wore shawls over their shoulders. One of the children asked Tess why they wore the shawls. The women wear shawls to show respect, she answered. It is an old Indian tradition. Certain types of clothing are connected to traditions. Tess pointed out that some of the boys and men were dressed like Indians in the old days. These traditional clothes were decorated with eagle, hawk, or turkey feathers. Bones and shells were also sewn into the clothes. See some of the other men and boys? Tess asked. They are wearing costumes made out of very colorful feathers. The feathers were bought at Indian stores and trading posts. The costumes are made by the dancers. Sometimes their friends and families help. Some dancers made modern headdresses or beaded barrettes. The feathers which some dancers put on their backs are also made from modern materials. Right now, the dancers are doing a horse stealing dance, Tess said as the dancers whirled around the floor. The drummers sang a war song. The dancers' feet bounced high off the ground. The children stared at the dancers. They were amazed. Finally, that's a transition word. The master of ceremonies announced a round dance. All of the students had been waiting for this dance. Tess had taught them this dance in their classroom. Tess now led the class onto the dance floor to join the circle. The boys and girls danced with the Indian dancers. Together they danced around and around in the direction of the sun. The girls wore the shawls which Tess had told them to bring. Smiling, the children traveled around the painted drum and the Indian singers. When the dance ended, Tess led the class back to their seats. "That was very nice," Miss Sherrill said. "I am so glad that Tess invited us to the powwow." Tess was happy and proud. She had shared a special part of her Indian heritage. We use that word a lot in the classroom. She knew that the students would always remember that night. They would remember the fun and friendship. They would remember the round dance. Most of all, they would remember the powwow. The end. This was such a special story. I'm going to read a little bit about what it says on the back of the book. It's recommended, which means it's for children ages 6 to 9. The American Indian powwow is an important element of Indian life today. From California to New Hampshire, American Indians join in celebration by singing, dancing, and drumming. In this book, a young Indian girl named Tess explains the meaning of the powwow to her classmates. She then takes them to a powwow held at Santana Elementary School. This is a charming story for the young and the young at heart. It is written by an Indian about Indians, and it accurately portrays a significant element of American Indian culture. Richard Red Hawk is the pen name for an award-winning American Indian author. Anne C. Brooke is a professional artist with lifelong interest in American Indian history, art, and culture. She is presently a graphic artist for the Media Technology Services at San Diego State University. What a special book. If you added to your schema about powwows, put your thumb up. All right, this is our last story. Who Will Carve the Turkey This Thanksgiving by Jerry Pelota and David Biedrzierki. Who will carve the turkey this Thanksgiving? Here's the dedication. Dear Mom, thank you for the stuffed mushrooms, the lentil soup, the artichokes, the lobster ravioli, the homemade cranberry sauce, the turkey, the baked vegetables, the cider, the pumpkin pie, the coffee jello, the pecan pie, and the pizzelles. Love, Jerry. I just had pizzelles recently. They're connected to my Italian culture. For Pat Muir, Walter Carmichael, Gary Brown, Nancy Sampson, Carolyn Mazik, Kate Corky, Lenore Piccoli, and Anne Marie Doyle. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak at your schools. Is it a tradition in your family to eat certain foods on Thanksgiving? Today is Thanksgiving. Mom always cooks a wonderful meal, but who will carve the turkey this year? A killer whale would be a good choice, but why is it staring at me? Yikes! Maybe Mom could use a saber-toothed tiger, but they are extinct. We'll never find one. How about a Tyrannosaurus Rex? No, they probably never brush their teeth. A polar bear could carve the turkey with one swipe, but whap, its paw might knock it out of the window. A great white shark would be perfect, but it would scare the whole house. Leafcutter ants could carve the turkey, but who wants to eat a zillion tiny slices? Huge elephant tusks are too smooth, and the elephant might eat all the stuffing. I know, piranhas are a possibility, but they would want my fingers and toes for dessert. Mom could ask a swordfish to carve the turkey. Watch out, he'll cut the table in half. What are you doing, sneaky coyote? Bring that turkey back right now. We could ask a sea lion. That's silly. Stop balancing the turkey on your nose. A hippo has too big of a belly. A skunk is too smelly. And a moose would tip over the cranberry jelly. Hey, look who's here. I guess that settles it. Grandpa will carve the turkey just like every year. So it's a tradition in this family for the grandfather to carve the turkey. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the memories that you made over Thanksgiving break. See you soon.